This is the Horsepower Hour.
Yes, hello, and welcome to another Horsepower Hour. This is, of course, your host, Andy, as always. And with me, as always, well, not last week, but this week, he's back. Koiforicus Sin Masterson, Junior Senior Esquire, Duke of Earl Grey. Have you picked up any more titles since you were gone?
No, I haven't.
Okay, good, because I can't remember them. I mean, seriously, I'm running out of space.
Yeah, you should see me at the DMV.
Well,
there's multiple reasons why my right arm is bigger than my left.
Yeah,
that is one of small percentage reason why, but still.
Coy is actually going to space. People don't know he's an astronaut, and so it's just one more thing that we're going to be able to add on. And I'm getting tired of it. I mean,
technically, since I'm using a Russian rocket, I'll be a cosmonaut.
This dude has a PhD in BS. That's all I'm saying. Kyle and Zach, how are you guys doing?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much for being here. You guys are from Past Power Innovations, and I think it's interesting because you've really you've built a business out of this. You know, I've known you for a long time, Kyle.
Yes.
And when you first started out, you were doing Z31 parts,
yes.
And mostly it was just because you had a Z31, you liked them, you were helping other people out in the community, and this has really turned into a thing.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, it's been a crazy ride. Done several side ventures with it. Zach and I have been pretty much all over the country.
And that's Zach that you hear right now, by the
way. he's a heavy breather.
He's bored. He's starting to snore over here.
No.
You'll know if I fall asleep. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's very loud. We've shared many a hotel room together, and
you don't ever complain.
I don't. I'm usually pretty quiet about the evening's activities.
Zach, have you always been involved in PPI? So yes, me and Kyle actually met. We're Z31 owners. We met in 2010 on the Z31 performance message board and developed a rapport there and came up with a couple ideas for parts, and it just kind of grew from there.
Start sharing hotel rooms. And
hey,
it
just happens that way sometimes.
To the moon. Little honeymooners reference there for you. So what are we, obviously you still have all the same goodies for the Z31s as parts are available, but what else are we working on now?
Well, we have a variety of development vehicles at the shop right now. I think it's somewhere close to 20 to 25 vehicles. Of course, we buy development vehicles, things that we enjoy. Also, we look at vehicles that don't have a aftermarket support system, or a very poor one, or one where there's a lot to be desired. So we've picked up vehicles, $400, $500 cars that we all say, hey, that's cool. It's on Craigslist. We pick those up and then investigate, find out if these communities are interested in new products for a vehicle. Some of them are actually not. That's fine. They're still cool cars, but we have a Fiero.
Which I was going to say, oddly enough, the Fiero, I don't know if you know this, but the market has kind of shrunk it away.
Mm-hmm.
There used to be like an actual Fiero store where customers could come to and buy parts that Pontiac had long since forgotten about in upgrades and performance. And now it's literally just skin and bones.
Yeah.
There's hardly anything available. They're just still used as copies of Ferraris, pretty much.
Well, this is going to sound kind of bizarre, but I heard it from the horse's mouth. We had Stephen Cox on. That interview is going to be released at a later date. We've got that one banked, but Stephen Cox is, of course, the announcer for Mikimoto Auctions. And I was asking him, what are some vehicles that you really see, like buy now, hang on to them for a few years, and they're going to gain a lot in value? The first generation Toyota MR2 was one that's high up on his list. Mm-hmm. The Fiero as well, the more rare versions of that, like the GT,
the 88 GT,
the 3.4 formula,
Mm-hmm.
those ones. He's already seeing some of those going across the block for $12,000, $13,000, $14,000, $15,000. And he's like, that one in good condition. I know it sounds weird, a Fiero, like why would that gain value? But that is going to be one of the new future collector cars. And he was 100% right about Fox bodies, by the way. I mean, the value of Fox bodies just keeps going up and up and up.
Yeah, it's like their S13 and the Fox body are in a race of some kind.
Right. And the Miata's right behind him, just like, give me your heels.
And don't forget, obviously, AE86s. We're even seeing a bump in the Z31 market.
Yeah.
The Z31 market's climbing. We purchased a customer of ours car a couple of years ago. We did quite well. Obviously, we could double our money right now. We're not going to because the car is a development and it's kind of a showcase for our products. But we're seeing Mecum auctions with Z31 selling at $15,000, $20,000 and above. So we see that market going up. But also there's just oddball stuff. You're here in Oregon, Rapido, who made a bunch of XR4 Ti stuff, I think is not but an hour from here. I don't think that they're doing a whole lot anymore, but they're still open their doors. And we have a XR4 Ti at the shop that we'd like to do as a development / track car. But there's just so much stuff that, that has fallen off of people's catalogs in terms of what they manufactured for these older 80s, early 90s sports cars. There are people that still care about them. They still want stuff for them. And that's what we kind of hope to be able to provide a little bit of that. We can't do everything for everybody. And we don't really want to be in a high volume situation making 240SX parts. There's too many companies doing that. We couldn't even come up with something and have it to market before the Chinese would figure out how to copy it and sell it before we could. It's just, that's not a market we want to be in. We rather help people, small groups of people, and come up with some innovative things for them. And that's kind of where the name came from.
I like that. I dig that. As a matter of fact, I want to know in the comments, we've got a few people joining us. Aaron Samuelson, thank you for being here. Jake Jaden's here. Darwin Bonk is here. We appreciate you guys joining. We even have a Twitch viewer, multi, I'm going to butcher this. I'm so sorry, you guys. But
I don't even know what that says.
Drop in the comments what kind of cars you think are cool but obscure that you would love to start seeing people make some performance parts for. Coy?
I want to know what the newest vehicle you make parts for is.
Gosh, I don't think it goes past 90.
Yeah, well, we do have we have an Acura Legend that is a development vehicle. We don't actively make anything yet, but we're prepping for that. The Type 2 6-speed coupes. So that's 95, I think.
Is when it ended, yeah.
I'm trying to think. We have a Saab at the shop. I don't know that we're going to do a whole lot, but there's there's that early or late 90s, early 2000s Saab market. There's not a whole lot of options for products.
They make
there.
really nice tow dollies for those.
Oh yeah, I bet. Yeah, well, I mean,
it's funny you say that because I mean, how many Saabs have you seen with that tow hook on the front? Because so many people pull them behind their motorhomes forever.
That's sweet Swedish engineering. Until GM got their grubby little hands in there, and kind of like Ford with Jaguar. In fact, we have some Jaguar stuff that we've kicked around, working with XKRs and things of that nature.
I guess I did forget about that. We do manufacture a hold down tool for some Jaguars for the AJ series V8s, but that cross platforms to several different vehicles. Molly sold an engine to Ford that what is it, AJ26,
AJ27, yeah, the AJ series pretty much.
They made V6 versions of it. They're all pretty much the same. Anyway, we make a few parts for those too. Just a lot of stuff. That's probably like the newest thing, which is 99, 2000.
And so is your favorite thing to make parts for still the Z31? Like, are you Z31 fanboys?
I would say we used to be like huge Z31 fanboys, but now that we've grown our own like kind of hero personal car collection, I mean, we have a Nissan Access van.
We have a Nissan van.
Speed.
Wow.
And a Nissan van. Like, these are things that Zach and I would go on road trips and talk about. We're like, man, wouldn't it be cool to find one of these things? And then we find it and we're like, wow, we own this now. Like this is part of our a little personal. Yeah, they're not true hero cars for everybody. They're our stuff. We're into some really weird and odd things, like much like you.
Hey, what are you saying?
It's those hero car, like my hero car collection. It's in my head,
Sure.
Like right now, I'm always like, I'm looking for like an all-wheel drive manual Toyota Previa.
Oh yeah,
I have no idea why, but I just think it'd be cool to have.
Can you get those in all-wheel drive and manual? Okay, but not supercharged.
I don't think you get it all three.
No,
I think
yeah,
you have
the-
to pick
right.
two.
So
trifecta
they only
is not
made
a thing.
they didn't make manual supercharged ones.
Right, right.
So you can get manuals in supercharged or in all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive, but once they went supercharged, you just pick all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. It's all going to be automatics.
It's just too much raw horsepower and speed for that manual transmission. You know,
Well,
Yeah.
those superchargers,
you got to really hold it down with
You
the
would break all
automatic.
that glass.
Exactly. Exactly.
Those superchargers weren't always on either. They have like an AC.
Yeah, it was much like the
Mhm.
Mercedes C230.
Yeah, and so like guys actually get more boost at them. There's like a Celica air compressor pulley or something you put on it, and it works the same, but it's a little bigger, smaller,
Mhm.
or whatever.
Also, those superchargers are a standalone unit. They're just sort of in line. They're belt driven, obviously, but I mean, they're in line with the intake piping. So it's kind of fascinating. Like you can put those on virtually anything. I mean, I've known a couple of guys that have put those on A86s because they're literally just a standalone unit.
Isn't
pretty
it
amazing.
similar to those superchargers that people are trying to bolt on to Subarus now?
Yeah, except for it's much larger than
Yeah,
the
they're using like
AMR
little 500
500.
cc's.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Wow, really?
I hate that discussion so much. It boost versus volume.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's one of my hugest pet peeves when it comes to like talking to people about forced induction. They're like, well, how much boost are you running? I don't care. Tell me about the size of the turbocharger, which engine you're putting it on, what's your power goals.
Mhm.
Those are the things that interest me. Like whenever we talk about these little tiny dinky superchargers, I'm just like, you're literally turning on an AC compressor and you're putting it on your engine pretty much. Like,
Well, so you're one of those guys where if I say my K-swapped Honda Civic makes 1,000 horsepower at 14 PSI, you're just going to assume I'm running like a 90 millimeter.
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. You got a huge hair dryer on there
Yeah, yeah.
because it's making more volume of air
Yeah.
than it is pressure.
You know, we have a description on the show of cars like that. Big balls, small penis.
Sure.
It's, and, you know, that's really, I think that perfectly summarizes what we're talking about here. Hey, before we move on to the news, you guys, let's just shout out real quick. Past Power Performance can be found where? Shout out your links.
So you can catch us at our website, pastpowerparts.com. We have a Facebook page, www.facebook.com/pastpowerparts. And also you can follow us on Instagram at pastpowerparts.com, or I apologize, at pastpowerparts. You can see products that we manufacture. You can see some of the things that we're doing in the shop. I think we have a meeting later this week. We may start getting more into social media in terms of, you know, what we do day to day, some of the products that we're coming out, how we come up with product designs and ideas, and some of the hero cars that we have at the shop. We actually need to do some stuff with some of these. So it's time to actually document what we're going to do. So we're looking forward to that. And we certainly will be sharing those videos with you as they come out. So we're kind of looking forward to this. This is a new project. Social media is so important nowadays that, you know, even for people who congregate because of this niche vehicle that they have or something, still getting the name out there, getting what we're doing, it just draws more people in. They get more excited about something. Maybe they find something that they're interested in that oh man, I forgot about those cars. I need to find one. We saw that so much with the Z31. We're seeing it with some of these other cars. There's such a nostalgia craze right now. And now everybody's getting stimulus money. So
Yeah, give me that stimmy.
give me that stimmy, baby.
I don't think that $1,400 stimmy is going to really touch a Z31 at this point, will it?
You can still find deals, but you're going to be working on it in your garage at that price. I promise.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and just do the subframe swap out because they're rotted anyway.
Has small rust issue.
Weight reduction.
That's what, speed holes.
Came from Maine.
You know, I don't own any cars probably that you're making parts for, but like you guys, as you've termed it, the hero collection.
Sure.
I love that, and I will follow that just to watch that because don't get me wrong, Jay Leno has an amazing car collection. It's cool.
Yeah.
There's no situation where I get any car like his, you know. So
Sure.
but I always dream about these weird niche cars, you know. So I always think, oh, maybe when I'm older, I'll have a couple, 2 or 3 of these. What would be in my little, you know, you're getting like this retired shop idea, and you're like, what are like the 4 imports that I got in there that the kids won't know what they are, you know? So I'm super excited just hearing that you're gonna kind of have a collection of nostalgic oddballs that you can kind of showcase.
We're happy to be the crap can hero guys. You know,
Well, that's what a lot of us are. So I'm down for that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Hey, I've got a Festiva parked next to my house. You know,
We saw it. We were eyeing it.
We have a car on the trailer. We have a truck on the trailer right now, a
Mhm.
very special truck on the trailer right now. Or, maybe we could, it drives. So maybe it would just accidentally, the Festiva would just make it on the trailer.
like you're gonna take it off of my hands.
Maybe. I
Well,
mean,
like you're gonna take the truck off and take the Festiva like straight
Right,
across
like-
trade.
well, you're
I'm
not
fine
paying
with that.
attention.
I'm fine with that.
We've been
to-
looking for one. I mean,
We're looking to gamble that Festiva, so supercharged hard bodies, ultimate gambler.
Yeah,
Maybe too gambleable.
yeah. Well, it's funny because
gamblerable.
I think if this thing survives the gambler,
it's Gamble Air. It's got a
Gamble Air, excuse me. It's French gamble.
Gambly.
Yeah, I'm honestly wanting to do another turbo swap Festiva. My wife probably just cringed even from the goat barn.
I
But,
cringed a little bit myself.
I've heard stories. Now I know you knew Kyle back when you had this. I didn't know you, but I've heard stories about this thing. I heard it was real easy to change lanes.
It was very easy to change lanes in second gear, third gear, sometimes in fourth gear.
Just step on the pedal.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember the first time I rode in a moderately fast front wheel drive. It was a turbo Civic,
Mhm.
and the kid I was riding with had no clue how to drive the car.
Ooh.
But as soon as he put his foot in it, it just torque hopped over to the next lane.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, okay. So can you go back to the lane you were in?
Before you shift gears again, just change that. Like, let's.
Maybe in between gears.
This is like the worst version of Frogger I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, always make sure that the sport bike you're racing is on the other side.
non-torque steer side.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why you beat so many sport bikes.
Exactly.
Well, if they don't finish the race, it's not really winning. So
All right, guys, let's
Failure to
move on to some
qualify.
news because I'm pretty excited about this. You ready to get into it?
Very much so.
So this is the Hummer EV, and hopefully we don't get dinged by YouTube for showing the video, but let's go ahead and check this thing out because they're supposed to be showing some real-time crab walking going on.
Yeah.
And sliding through the snow, that's always a good way to go, right?
Sure.
There's the crab walk. Now, I just want to quickly point out, when Coy and I talked about this many episodes ago, they had this illustration where they were like, here's what you're going to be able to crab walk around. And then we did a little quick head math and realized the 10 degrees, isn't it 10 degrees or 15 degrees? You
And
can turn the
their
wheels.
animation was maybe 47 degrees of angle. I'm like,
Yeah. So now we actually get to see what this thing is capable of. And yeah, it's about 10 to 15 degrees, isn't it?
that might be 20.
You think so?
I'm just looking at it. I don't know. I'm sure they actually say somewhere.
This is the classic, like in my line of work, I'm a machinist. So engineers put stuff on prints and paper, and they like to think that this might happen.
Mm-hmm.
And here you go. This is a classic example of something that, has to go down a highway at 70 to 80 miles an hour comfortably and successfully. Yeah. And, I would say that, if there was an emergency situation and suddenly it kicked into 47 degrees of articulation on the wheel, that would end pretty badly.
Yeah. I agree with that.
I kind of had the flashback to one of the 1943. Remember the arcade game where you're moving back and forth?
Yeah.
I kind of had a flashback to that.
What do you think about this four-wheel steer? All wheels going in the same direction, or excuse me, opposite directions.
Yeah, doing the monster truck style.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, this is just building on what they did with the four-wheel steer trucks back in 20 years ago, 15 years
Mhm.
ago. I mean, so that concept.
What's the range on this thing?
Well, that's a good question. I don't think the range is really what they said it was going to be, because they always overinflate them.
I don't even
what were they
believe
talking? 300 miles or something?
I don't even believe. I'm waiting till one hits the road so I get some numbers. The 11,000 foot-pounds of torque.
They still keep saying that.
They keep saying that it's actually 11,000 foot-pounds of torque, but I'm like, what kind of axles are going to withstand 11,000 foot-pounds of torque?
Obviously, they don't mean, like I said before, it's 11,000 foot-pounds of torque, according to some new algorithm that an engineer had to make up, and now he gets to explain to everybody.
Oh, sure.
You get me?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if a new Jeep JL on 35s can snap a Dana 40 or whatever is in those, this independent suspension, how beef would that have to be to withstand what? I mean, that's
It would literally
semi trucks don't make that much torque.
It would literally have to have an electric wheel or electric motor, on each wheel.
That was what I thought originally too,
Mhm.
but that is not the design they have. So that's how I thought they're getting around it, but they're not doing it that way.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
see some sort of axle shaft in the back. So
And so now all of a sudden you have these CVs or U joints or whatever that it's going through,
Mhm.
and you still have that 1,000 horsepower and some unreal number of torque.
Well, and certainly, and then you have to worry about weight in an electric vehicle in terms of range and whatnot.
Mhm.
And I mean, how beefy does that have to be able to handle that? So you just reduced range.
And
so if it had
more-
11,000 foot-pounds of torque, like it would instantly incinerate the tires, right?
yeah,
Like,
because all that torque is
Yeah.
you would have that 11,000 at 0 RPM, and then it would
sure,
it would get lesser from there.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So it just, if you floored it, I imagine just all 4 axle shafts would just explode.
So I feel like it's like you said, the algorithm.
Yeah.
Like the engineers explaining, yeah, you get the 11,000 at the very top end of this motor.
Or something. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
Are they just
in
trying
low
to cater
range.
to number people? Like,
I
oh
know.
my God, that
That-
thing has 11,000.
Initially, I did the
1,000
same thing, and then I
horsepower.
was like, how in the world is that going to work? I mean, it's going to be in 4 low
Right.
in some off-road
Mhm.
setting
Split
where
transfer case.
yeah, where when you floor it, it doesn't respond. I don't know what they're doing, but it can't be what they're saying. If it is what they're saying, they've designed an entirely new groundbreaking
Mhm.
CV axle that is going to change all CV shafts. It's going to change the market.
here's the full breakdown: 1,000 horsepower,
Sure.
11,000 foot-pounds torque, $160,000, and a 2.5-inch cock. Darwin says, by the way, people still won't be able to park it, and he's 100% right. You know what they will be able to park probably a little bit more easily is this next one. Coy, you sent this to us.
Very excited about
What
this.
exactly is going on here, man?
I'm in love with this, except for the way they're selling it. This, I mean, you don't need a hood on an electric vehicle. All the motors are underneath you, the batteries underneath you.
This is called the Canoe, not canoe, Canoe electric truck. And it basically looks like a cabover, which I love.
Yeah, I love the look. It's reminiscent of the old Volkswagen truck vans.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
bit.
the transport or whatever.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but yeah, they're
Or
actually
even like
worth a lot of money now. But
or a 40 Econoline truck.
or
you know?
A100.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
super cool looking. Even what's the old Jeep? There was an old Jeep cab
Forward
over.
control.
Forward control.
A little bit like that. Either way, I'm not a big electric car guy, but if I had to be, wow, this is
drive
checking
this.
my boxes.
Yeah, this is an EV I can get behind.
Yeah.
This thing is cool.
I mean, it's got lots of glass, lots of room to see. It looks like
600
an actual
horsepower is what they're saying.
decent power. It looks like something. I mean, as much as I love Tesla, the Tesla truck looks like a video game truck. This looks traditionally like a truck. I mean, it's not a traditional truck, but it looks like a vehicle.
This is a decent transition.
Yes,
This
this is. I can see this is the next step, not 8 steps away.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, it's out of the box enough to be edgy and
Uh-huh.
whatnot, but it's certainly pulling from something that's come from before.
yeah, it's reminiscent of something
And
that's real.
It actually looks like an 04 to like 2010 F-150 from the side.
Mhm.
Like that whole line of trucks sold amazingly.
What do you guys think of this bed extension? So it's got a 6-foot bed on it, but they say it extends out to 108 inches. And it looks like the tailgate, goes down, of course. And then you've got literal rail extensions that give you some semblance of a bed, even though it's all fold in or fold out.
This is fantastic. I mean, there are options. Or there's times when you don't want a long bed truck, and also the feature that they had with the compartmentalized bed.
Mhm.
That's fantastic.
Love that.
It reminds me of the McBLT. You keep the hot hot, the cold cold.
It does have plugs.
I wish I knew that theme song. It's on the tip of my tongue.
It's got outlets. It's got 120-volt outlets, 4 of them in the bed. Unless they're showing me that, like, by the way, we have waterproof covers for these, it always kind of bumps me seeing those, because now, all right, you've got a pickup. Eventually, you're going to carry things like sticks, brush, leaves, gravel, mud, something like that. So what do you do in a case like that?
Well, I imagine, so at my house, instead of covers, I got waterproof outdoor plugs, like generators and stuff that are going to be inside the plug. There's covers, and when you push on, the prongs hit it, they kind of fold away. They make you usually really angry because they never actually fold away like you would think they should. So you're pushing on it and wiggling it. Then it's like a mule train. You start cursing at it. Come on, go, just go.
So here's the problem with that. You've got wet sand packed in there. And even though it has those little internal flaps, you're now pushing that sand through in order to get past the internal flaps.
Well, here's the downside of this canoe pickup. It won't be traditional as in the way you buy it. It will be a subscription. So when you get it packed full of sand, you take the model you currently have and you drive it back to the dealer and pick a different color and drive that to your house, because you will pay a monthly fee to have one, and it's just a subscription service.
It's a subscription to a vehicle.
Yes, this is what they're going to do.
So it's not lease. It's like Turo or something. But you get your own truck. Like you get to swap it out.
Truck sharing.
I'm guessing that when it goes to a new model year, then there'll be some kind of charge to get the newest one. But yes, if you decide you want the van instead of the truck, you just drive in and swap it out. You want a different color, they said you can take them back and get different ones as much as you'd like.
I'm sorry, but this seems like a horrible business model. You'd have to charge so much money, because what's going to keep me from literally just taking this thing and street racing everyone with 600 horsepower and just breaking transactions constantly? I mean, obviously they're going to charge you for stuff that's broken, but just normal wear and tear. I feel like with a business model like this, you're going to end up with a bunch of basically like used taxis. No, worse yet, cop cars.
No. Hertz Rentals.
Ooh.
It's going to be me standing there with a backhoe, looking at a long dirt ramp and my canoe. I won't have the keys in my hand. I'll have the fob, I'm guessing.
Well, and I'm also wondering if they're just positioning themselves to be purchased out by a larger outfit.
So
maybe maybe the actual distribution model doesn't really make a lot of sense if they can provide the hardware. So
I don't know exactly how they're going to do it. The guys that are running this now they are big. They were from other big companies. The guys that did this were kind of the guys that brought the BMW electric, I series vehicles. And why they're doing the subscription is they don't want to have all this investment in dealers. Like, you'll just buy one online and then they'll drop it off at your house type thing. And then when you need maintenance, somebody will come pick it up and drop another one. That's the idea.
I'd love to see how this works in theory and execution type deal.
Probably guys like me are the ones that are going to ruin it. I imagine if you live in town and you're a normal non-gearhead person, this would be perfect. But then you'll get me, and I'm going to have it buried in my field. I'll be like, yeah, it needs maintenance.
I got two words for you. Yeet,
yeet. Don't be silly, because I am going to send this vehicle.
So, especially with the image that they're selling here.
Yeah, this
is Overland.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're camping and.
Well, I was about to say PDX Overlanders probably get a discount.
I hope so.
Because they're not going to take it anywhere. I cannot hardly wait until I see one of these high centered on a snow pile in the Walmart parking lot. Oh, that's going to be so amazing.
Costco, watch out.
See, the downside of a subscription, though, like the Overland crowd is going to want to add, Roto packs and Max Tracks and all the cool, expensive plastic.
You have to figure out a way to get that on and off quickly.
It's going to have to all be like quick change. Like, I'm just going to have a rack that comes off with all my gas cans and stuff. I don't know exactly what the plan will be, but.
Or they give you a huge credit towards the new model.
Or yeah, maybe. I'm not sure.
Speaking of new models, you guys, and we're on the topic of trucks here. Well, kind of. The Canoe is considered a truck, isn't it?
The bed is separate from the
a truck van.
Yeah, tranny. I think
anything cabover I would consider a
truck. Yeah.
I'm
assuming the van configuration is just to add on topper that mates to the.
No, it's a separate.
Is it a separate? Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure. It looked like it could be just converted over.
So it's basically looks like a skateboard truck is the drivetrain and battery pack, and then they're just designing bodies for that same
That's smart.
Subframe motor piece.
Well, but the bottom line is it identifies itself as a truck, and that is the pronoun that we will
Yes.
honor here. Also, we've got one identifying itself as a truck, the Ford Maverick. Now, let me ask you guys this. When you first heard that the Ford Maverick was coming back, did you have a split second there where you were like, oh, small sports car?
I actually didn't, because I was like, Ford swears that they're just going to build utilitarian vehicles from now on. So I kind of figured it was going to be like a ute.
Only utility, comrade.
Yeah.
I will say that when I hear Ford Maverick, I see one of those mid 70s like baby puke green sedans.
Yes.
Because I had a Torino the same color. And that's the first thing. There's not any way that they can say those two words in conjunction with each other where I don't think of that. But this truck looks like it could be pretty neat. Now, it's difficult to determine size right here. So we don't know what it looks like in terms of next to a new Ranger, next to an old Ranger. Where is it fitting in that hierarchy? Is it like a Ridgeline competitor, or?
This might just be my opinion, but I feel like some of these driver's side shots, seeing like the person in the truck, I feel like this gives us a little bit of an idea for the scale. I mean, the bed, honestly, to me looks short, real short. I'm honestly wondering if it's even 5.5 foot. It probably has to be competitive, but I mean, just the doors are short and everything is short. This looks like a very small truck to me.
It makes me so sad, because when I first heard that Ford had trademarked Maverick, I had like these Australian Mad Max thoughts, and I'm like, yes, they're doing utility. It's going to be so cool. It's going to be like a ute or something. It's going to be all-wheel drive, EcoBoost turbo. Like, I start just like building this pyramid of awesome, and then they were like, oh yeah, it's a Honda Ridgeline with a Ford emblem.
Well, they couldn't have even brought over the Brazilian trucks.
Yeah,
one of those weird oddball type things. Like, hey, we need a small truck. Let's go ahead and bring some of those.
From this angle, it looks like a direct copy of a Ridgeline.
It does. And you can see from this shot, it's got independent double wishbone suspension in the back, which indicates that this is a unibody truck, which means it's a little bit more like the Ridgeline than it should be.
And they're trying to fool you too, because there's a split between the bed and the cab, and it's like, oh, maybe it's actually a frame. No, definitely unibody.
Yeah, not unless they're doing something really radical, and I'm not buying it for a second.
Now, this is, from what I understand, this is a rear wheel drive vehicle, or is this just all wheel drive? Nobody really knows, or
I've heard that it's based on the new Bronco subframe, which is front wheel drive / all wheel drive. So, and I'm talking about the Bronco Sport, not the fake Bronco.
Isn't that basically a gussied up Escape anyway?
Yeah, I don't know what it's not something I'm ever buying.
Got to get some mileage out of those retired chassis, I guess.
I don't know what they're doing with some of this stuff. It blows my mind.
Maybe this is kind of their intermediate, because now they're not making cars anymore except for the Mustangs. And so they wanted to have something that was, again, like you said, utilitarian, a truck that rides like a car. I mean, that was the whole concept behind the Ridgeline, is something that was very easy to drive, very comfortable, had the Honda comfort and reliability and all that other stuff. But it was a quote unquote truck. It could tow a little bit and it could haul a little bit. What does a Ridgeline do for towing? I think it's 4,000 pounds or less.
You can move a canoe or two, I think, but that's pretty much what it's there for. It's not really, don't try to hook up your 21-foot bass boat or whatever. Right. Exactly. And I have a feeling that this is going to fall pretty much in the same vein. Now, here's a question for you guys. Is this going to have the turbocharged 3-cylinder in it? Or is this going to have a 4-cylinder? What do we think?
I think they're going to have to do a V6 option. I think they're going to have to.
They didn't do that in the Ranger, though.
I know, but
and the Ranger is considerably bigger than this, or at least it looks that way.
Yeah, but Ford's always doing weird stuff.
What are the two options for the Bronco Sport? I forget offhand.
I believe it's a 3-cylinder and a 4-cylinder, and then supposedly maybe a diesel option down the line.
One of them is the 2.7 liter V6 in the Bronco. It is.
No, the Bronco Sport.
The Bronco Sport, the little guy.
The little guy. The small one. Excuse me.
I think they're both. I think it's the little 3-cylinder, 4-cylinder, and then supposedly maybe a diesel option.
The Bronco Renegade.
Yeah.
And
The
I
Bronco
would
Trailhawk.
assume that would probably, if they're going to base it off the Bronco Sport, that you're going to get the same options there.
Right.
On the other hand, Ford, especially with the F-150, is known for having 19,000 different options. You know, like if you ever look at like towing capacity on a Ford F-150, it's 3.5 PDF pages of the different option list out to figure out what your truck is towing capacity wise. Their options are insane.
So one more thing I wanted to throw out about this question for the panelists. Now that we have something that's, it's independent 4-wheel suspension, probably full-time all-wheel drive. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Something that is a little more car than truck, or at least as close as we're going to get with Ford. What are our odds of getting like a Raptor edition or a Maverick Lightning edition?
Well, it depends on what they're going to do with the Ranger. I think I've heard something about some sort of Sport Ranger package. And if they do that, then I could see them having a full line of Raptor pickup trucks. It would be relatively easy. They don't have to do a whole lot, probably.
Right.
Maybe, some suspension upgrades at the most. But what exactly are they going to offer for a Bronco Sport? You could kind of just, if that's what this truck's being based off of, you can kind of just look there and kind of extrapolate.
I feel like Ford is due for like a full SVT line. I mean, back, when I was in high school, they did a Contour.
Yeah.
I mean, they did a Focus.
Hey, they had a Taurus show, baby.
Yeah, and a V8 Taurus,
That's
feel like they're
SHO
due.
for those.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And by the
For
way, those
those
SVT Contours, those were actually pretty good. Like they were quick, they were sporty, they had a 6-speed manual transmission. They sounded fucking.
They did.
They sounded good.
They sounded like a Buso, like an Alpha Buso.
If you actually talk to somebody and say it out loud, it sounds like some alternate universe version of Ford when you're like, yeah, no, they made a souped up Taurus with a Yamaha engine in it. And then you think about it, you're like, where am I?
And then they took that V6 model, threw it in the scrap bin, and then they came out with the Yamaha V8.
Yeah. It's like, what? What
And
are
they
we
did
doing?
not do the exterior
But
justice, though.
It's sad because it's really a critique on American auto manufacturing in general, because now you have Stellantis that just threw SRT in the garbage.
I know.
And
Well, they didn't exactly. So we covered this in an episode. What was that? A couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
They took all of their engineers. They decentralized the SRT engineers. They put them out everywhere. And I know that some people who normally are nihilist, I couldn't believe they were trying to Mr. Brightside this thing to me. They were like, oh, well, what if we end up with a Hellcat Pacifica? And it's like, no, bro, that's not going to happen. All that's going to happen is all of these SRT cars, they're all diluted now. They're all washed down. Like if you think of a Hellcat as a full strength beer, you basically you can pretty much be guaranteed that everything that you're going to get out of SRT now is going to be a Pabst Blue Ribbon, and not from Oregon.
Yeah.
It's going to be from like Utah. It's going to be the 3% beer.
Yeah, Budweiser just bought the craft brewery.
Yeah,
is
exactly.
what's happening. It's like, we love this little craft beer. It was awesome. They made stupid stuff with 900 horsepower, and then some big guy came in and was like, hey, this is working out real well. Let's turn it into a trim package. And that's what we're gonna have, I think.
I don't think it'll be immediate, by the way. I honestly don't. I think that they're going to make maybe 1 or 2 more performance vehicles, but the signs will be there. The next performance Dodge that they come out with that's not based on their existing hardware, aka the Hellcat motor, which they've been putting in everything, the 392, the whatever. I honestly do think that we're going to start seeing more and more watered down stuff probably over the next 5 years, because they know that they have a special ingredient here, but for some reason they're wanting to show the middle finger to the consumers. And I know we're going to get a bunch of messages from people saying, oh, it's because of emissions and it's because of money and all that. Yes, but also there's something else going on. It's like these corporations hate money. I just don't understand what's happening right now.
I think we should get like a GoFundMe to buy a bunch of cocaine for the SRT engineers.
Yes.
And just push just one last final hurrah.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
1,700 horsepower.
Oh, yeah. Those are rookie numbers, kid.
So we got the Hellcat, we got the Demon, we got the T-Rex. What would this one be called?
We need something to tie it all together, Time Cop or something.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah. Oh,
dude, the Dodge Pacifica minivan Time Cop.
the Dodge Dread.
Dread.
Definitely.
You know how many dads would get out of their van, be like, walking like a freaking robot, like, ooh, there's a Hellcat motor.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I'm dying for Ford to do something, bring themselves back into this performance arena. Like, I'm sorry, but, and we're still waiting to see what their answer to the T-Rex is going to be. We don't really know just yet, do we?
Ford already was waiting for this. They pretty much said, like, as soon as they introduced the TRX as the most powerful truck, Ford was like, yeah, no, just go ahead. They were like, we already have an engine shelved and we're just going to bump one out. Like, it's not even, Ford was waiting for that.
And what was that? 720 something horsepower?
It's like 4 more horsepower. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like they were just literally waiting. Just be like, oh, you thought you won, you know.
I'm so happy, by the way, to see a bunch of these YouTubers buying things like Hellcats and TRXs. I mean, limited run cars. And I love seeing the YouTube video where the title is, I'm ruining this brand new car. Oh, I'd love to have that kind of money. I would love my parents to have that kind of money. It's actually kind of a dirty secret with a lot of these YouTube channels is these are rich kids with trust funds that start out. And that's how they are just like blowing money wholesale on everything. Right. Then you build up a huge following, but not us. We're on this tiny little podcast and we love each and every one of you for joining and watching, by the way. Christopher Scott Allen is here. Thank you so much for being here, bro. I think it's time to move on to our next segment, though. Are you ready to do this, Coy?
Ready.
Overland is fucked!
Oh, that was the unedited one. My bad. I'll edit that in post. Coy, these lights are bad, dude. Bad to the bone.
So XK Glow is making these new LED light bars, which actually they tried to do a Kickstarter to start it like a year ago, right as COVID happened, and they didn't meet their goal. So they're doing it again, and it looks like they have or are going to meet their goal. The Instagrammer in me wants these lights so freaking bad.
Whether you were exploring
Check
the
this video out,
backcountry
you
or
guys.
heading
This
up a
is
tactical search
wild.
and rescue mission, the darkness is
Look at
no
that. And these
match
are stationary
for the
pods,
XK
by the way.
Glow
So they're
SAR
moving it
lighting
around.
system.
But I assume, Coy, they're independent pods that have different angles
For
of
work
mirror.
or play,
That's
we'll
what
do
it
whatever it
appears,
takes
and
to
then
find what you're
you can-
looking for.
You can put them on all 4 sides. So you can have light bar on each side and one on the back, and they all tie together through the computer
We
system.
need a light that
And
turns
like you
on
can see the
command.
strobe effect
That's
where it's
ready
actually
when we
spinning
are.
360 around the
We need
vehicle.
the
I
XK
noticed
Glow
that they call it the
lighting
SAR 90, the SAR
360.
yeah, the 360 is simply 4 of their light bars, but they all work in unison in
Yeah,
conjunction.
you can buy them one at a time and then stick them together. But yeah, this is Overland AF, and I want it so bad.
patented automotive lighting
No, it's pretty
tool
cool.
with a search
So
function that turns
I guess the
instantly
main
in any
innovation here
direction.
is the controller system that handles.
I don't know that there's any innovation, to be honest, but I mean the
Features a
They're
broad
tying it
range
all
of
together,
strobe
yeah,
yeah, they're
modes
tying it all
and is
together.
the
But I mean,
perfect
it
tool
looks like
for
it's
every
aimable,
off-road
but
search.
really it's just moving which LEDs are turned on. So I mean, you have kind of just turn them all on. You would sell 360 degrees of bright light, but
Look, man, these LEDs aren't the only thing turned on right now.
yeah, and then of course multiple strobe modes and
This is bad to the bone, seriously. And they're so bright. He is literally lighting up the
This
night with
is the
these.
light bar,
And they don't look that
reinvented.
big either, so the power output must just be unreal.
they make them
An
in
easy
20,
to access
36, and
dash
52
controller
inches
puts a
right now.
world of power
Just
at
a
your
little controller.
fingertips.
We just need one
With
controller.
an
to run them all.
aerodynamic housing design for
And they
less
did
wind
kind of do an
drag and
aerodynamic
noise,
shape, which I
an
kinda-
adjustable beam rod, or
Well, I mean,
narrow
That
normally
part
it's
amused
just
me.
a flat
a multi-directional
surface, so it's like,
instant
yeah, well,
search
I mean, that's
function
something.
operated with a simple turn of
I
a
wouldn't
knob.
care if these were mounted in red
And
solo cups. I'd
powerful
still buy them.
strobe,
Yeah,
traffic direct,
strobe, direct. Yeah,
and solid beam options.
I like how they're showing them on
All available
vehicles,
at the
but
push
not
of a
just
button.
like cars and trucks, but also UTVs. It really shows a lot of versatility with this system, and I'm impressed.
I think it's super cool.
The XK
I
Glow
can't wait
SAR
for the
lighting
Chinese
system
to
was
copy this so I
designed
can
to
get
help
one from
every
eBay
off-road
or Amazon
enthusiast
for
find
much less.
whatever they're looking
Worth the
for.
price.
Hopefully less.
safety
These are
and
very
instant
expensive.
search
I was going to
before
ask. I
anything
didn't
else.
see exactly what the MSRP on
On
The
these
search
was.
for a
Kickstarter,
perfect off-road
the
lighting
20
system
inch is
has
like
come to an end.
Force 28
With the
Yeah,
It's a
XK
little bit
Glow
more
SAR
after if
lighting
you're not on the early
system.
bird.
Let's
Now,
go through
does-
this here. One 20-inch SAR90 with controllers, 440. 480. Okay, here's a 36-inch for 730. Here's a 52-inch for 1,080. Here's a 52-inch. Oh, that's just including wiring harness. 420-inch, making it the true SAR 360 combo setup, but with 20-inch bars, $1,640.
Hey, sometimes you just got to see. I
Mhm.
just don't see myself having that much money for a light bar, but I'm not going overlanding as much now. If you're going out there, that is absolutely. I could see that being a lifesaver, even in some situations.
To be fair, I have plenty of light as it is. I would like to be able to suntan people's souls, but from different angles, you know, as they're oncoming and high beaming me, I want to keep I want to keep it in their eyes.
Oh, you
For
think
more-
you're turning away from me?
Yeah, like as you come closer to me, I can kind of hone in, like,
Yeah.
and you got away. You think you're good behind me? Rotate.
Boom.
Yeah, nope. Now I'm blowing up your retinas from the rear view.
So the highest package here, guys, 4 of these 52-inch light bars for the true 360 degree, $4,400. So you can spend $4,000 on the system, no problem, not a problem at all. If you're a YouTube trust fund baby out there and you're looking for a lighting setup, we found it for you.
Hey, if the Gram's paying that well, then why not?
It's not really a light bar at that point; it's a clout bar.
Yeah, no, it's what's the term? You're peacocking at that point.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I like them. I think it's very innovative. I have no problem with what they're doing there. And I think that it is something that is going to be necessary to someone. Can we assume that the price will come down as they get established in business and all this other stuff? Or what do you think?
It's hard to say. Depends on if people like it. If enough, if these sell well enough that some of the other bigger light bar companies, maybe Rigid or somebody kind of starts going with something in that vein, it's possible that price could come down at, as then it bleeds down to the lower guys. But yeah, Rigid did kind of a similar, I shouldn't say similar. They did a beam that would go wide to spot to like a flood. And then they had a controller where you could manually adjust it or put it on GPS mode. So as you sped up, it would turn to spot. And as you slowed down, it would widen out. But it made these look cheap. Like they were crazy expensive. So
I really feel like they've called their shot with this product. Like this is it. Like they're banking on this Kickstarter. And I'm glad that it made it, because I really feel like that's like the peak for them at this group that's came up with this product idea. Because like nowadays, if you don't have something that connects to your phone and also controls the lights, it's like, all right.
That's literally what I thought once we discussed this last night. So where's the Bluetooth function?
Yeah,
because you're going to be looking for something. You're going to be away from the truck. You're going to be within range maybe, but you're trying to find something. Well, why not control it from the phone? So instead of hardware, why don't you make it Bluetooth? Well, and I'm sure the development cost for that is not cheap at all. So
there's a fair amount of there's a similar amount of that where I can't remember. There's a company that just makes basically light switches and then like a fuse panel, and then you wire whatever light you want into it. But then it also is Bluetooth powered. So
like a S-Pod, or
it's similar to an S-Pod, but it's one of the other brands. But I know guys that will just like it. There's kind of Overland, cars and coffee things, just roll around with their Bluetooth on and try to find one of those without a password protection and turn the lights off.
We were also talking about that.
And it is hilarious because they'll be sitting there like flashing them and waiting for the dude to figure it out. And then the dude thinks his wiring is, it's hilarious. It is great.
I remember one time we were in an autocross and we were working a corner that was basically the opposite side of the parking lot from where we parked, and Coy had his S2000 there. There were some dudes, I think one of the guys even sat on your car, and you were trying so hard to get the key fob to work. You stuck it against your head because that'll extend the range, and it wouldn't quite go off. And then you stuck it on a pole for that chain link fence, and hit the button and it goes whoop whoop, and that dude slid off of the hood and was like, whoa, holy shit, what was that?
Yeah, I did that several times. I was at a like a tire, getting my tires rotated somewhere. I was inside, and some old lady had gotten her like tire pressure checked and then was backing up, doing that really old lady look 8 ways and really slow. And I just hit the double lock and it boop boop, and she slams on the brakes and looks. And then I was like, oh yes, I did it like 9 times in a row. Like I'd let her move like a foot and hit it. She's looking around, can't see anybody. She starts getting angry, like throwing her hands in the air and stuff. And finally just ripped it out of there forwards. But I had a good laugh.
One arthritic middle finger comes out the window.
she never knew it was me. Oh, I'm sure she's dead now. So
this is a real far cry from the 80s goods. You know, I'm thinking back to my time working at like Baxter Auto Parts. That was the early 2000s. We still had KC lights. I could still buy you one of the lights where you could put 2 or 3 KC like the round lights on, you know, and there was a grommet that would go through the top of your truck, and you had a very small handle with an on-off switch, and you could twist that thing around.
Those are still available. I as recently as 2015, I was helping a buddy start a 4-wheel drive shop back in my native Louisiana, and he had the full lineup of KC stuffs in stock, and you still had all those types of old school goodies that you could put
daylighters.
Yeah. And I even got the knockoff ones because I had an Isuzu Trooper that had overlanded out, and I was gonna put the 4. You know, I wanted something like RC Pro-Am. I had the snorkel and I had the 4 big rounds. And I never got to finish the project, but that's what I was going for, was RC Pro-Am overland.
You know, for our buddy Garrett still in the comments, he'll tell you the Troopers are really great off-road. Like, they're surprisingly capable. It's just getting so hard to find parts for them that it's not really a viable off-roader unless you have 3, 4, 5 Troopers laying around.
Well, the biggest thing I had when we had assembled mine, I had the old man EMU suspension. We had ARB parts. It was trying to do interstate speeds. Those trucks and Monteros are just not built for interstate highways. They're great for the bush, but they are definitely not meant to be used as regular American commuters. I was going through Utah. I couldn't do more than 55 miles an hour, and it's an 80-mile-an-hour speed limit.
Wow.
On the interstate. I was just praying that 18-wheelers didn't run me over a lot. And then I made the mistake of selling the Trooper after I had moved to Washington to somebody back in Louisiana and drove it back. And then I loaded up 2 Subaru engines and a 5-speed to a buddy who does VW conversions. I put them in there. I was like, oh, this won't be a problem. I think I got 4 miles to the gallon through Wyoming.
And that was with that 2.3 or 2.5?
No, this one was the 3.2. It was the second gen Trooper.
It was
a
V6.
5-speed, because I would never own another Trooper automatic transmission. They had GM 4L30s and they didn't hold up for more than like 5 minutes. They're about as that glass stem you were joking about, the wine glass before the show. That's about what those transmissions are built out of. So it was a 5-speed, but boy, I was getting 4 and 5 miles to the gallon through Wyoming and Colorado. I was crying because I had sold the truck as delivered, you know, at a delivered price, and realized I had a $1,200 fuel bill to get back over there.
It's gotten into the profits.
I was like, oh, why did I do this to myself?
That's a ball buster. Holy crap.
Yeah.
I got to be honest with you guys. I mean, our next car, fuel economy is probably not going to be a thing with this one, if I'm totally honest. But, you know, that is why we do what we do. We do some real, Kyle, Zach, I don't know if you realize this, but we do some real, I mean, serious consumer search and explanation here. I mean, I'm really, really proud of this next segment, because I feel like we're fighting the good fight for the consumers. Not even for us. It's for the consumers. You know what I'm talking about? We're doing it for the people. Literally, I feel like
the people. I do it for Dale.
Coy does it for Dale. I do it for the people. Either way, I don't want it to sound communistic, but I just want everyone out there to know that, I mean, we take this very, very seriously, and we do this next segment pretty much just for your own information. You're welcome.
Smokin Deal or Smokin A Doobie.
And what a deal or doob we have, you guys. I remember when people were making these, it was honestly when the Focus first came out, was when I first started saying there was a company, as a matter of fact, that I think was doing these swaps. Let's break into it here. The 2003 Ford Focus but it is rear-wheel drive and V8 swapped with a manual. They did it the right way. Zach, knew you'd appreciate that, son.
I definitely do. Now, I love the concept of a rear wheel drive hot hatch. I grew up with MGs or MG shooting brakes, MG BGTs and whatnot. And then I graduated to like Volkswagen GTIs and whatnot. So I totally get the hatch fascination. And I love that it's rear wheel drive. But if you watch the videos of this, it doesn't seem super fun to drive anywhere but in a straight line.
Really?
Yeah, I felt like the guy was fighting the car around the track. And I understand that you have some of that when you have a fun car, but it seemed like more work than anything. And I was trying to, in my mind, figure out why this was. I even looked up wheelbase and track width and compared it to, say, a S13 240SX. And the Focus is bigger in both wheelbase and track width. So it's not that. I'm wondering if it's weight distribution or what the deal is,
or driver mod. I'm just throwing that out there.
It could be driver mod.
You always got to remember Ford probably did $10 million worth of research into Ford Focus suspension for a front wheel drive car. And then someone shoehorned a rear wheel drive engine in here. And I'm guessing this is straight axle rear.
It is definitely a straight axle rear.
So,
yeah, it looks that way. So as a matter of fact, let's go through some of these mods, you guys.
And what do you think they have into suspension research? 18
nothing.
and
Nothing.
Some forums. Like,
it kind of looked like some sort of off the shelf coilover in the front, and then your typical QA1 setup in the rear.
Some kind of hot rod kit in the rear.
It looked like a drag setup in the rear. I mean, granted, it has a triangulation link for some cornering.
Are you guys hearing that too?
Yeah. Somebody's cords doesn't like it. Oh,
it's going away.
And my phone was too close. Sorry about that. Good thing we're recording this. All right. So it's got that's what it is. My microphone. It's got a fuel injected 5-liter V8 paired with a Tremec 5-speed manual transmission and a 3.73 to 1 limited slip rear differential. The engine, transmission, and 8.8 inch solid rear axle were fitted with fabricated braces and mounts. The engine has GT40 cylinder heads, a Cobra intake manifold, a Ford Motorsports camshaft, a Pro 5.0 short shifter assembly, 17-inch SVT wheels, adjustable rear coilovers, SVT spec bumpers, and a whole host of other things.
I'm sorry, GT40 cylinder heads? Like he got the cylinder heads out of a GT40?
That's just the GT40 style.
Okay.
The old Ford performance catalog.
Okay. I was like, somebody crashed a GT40 and this dude got a hold of the heads off of one. That's pretty crazy. But
I mean, technically you could find these on, actually the intake from a 99 2000 Explorer V8.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just to be clear, we're not talking about the Ford GT supercharged motor stuff.
No.
This is we're just calling it a GT40 style.
This is what the code was in the Ford performance catalog back in the 90s, I guess.
Gotcha.
So
don't think of it so much as GT40. Think of it more as GT30. You know what I mean? Yeah, Merca. I like the look of it. I truly do. The thing about Ford Focus wheels is they have got a weird bolt pattern. I think it's 4x108. It's an odd bolt pattern. Yeah. Ford Focus wheels were a little bit hard to come by. A lot of people think that they're 4x114, and they're not. There's something in between. I think it's 4x108.
It's that European tune suspension.
Bingo. Yes, exactly.
They transferred over as much as they could.
We're going through some photos here. Of course, the link to find all of this is underneath of the podcast. So if you're listening to the podcast and audio, you can just hit any one of the links in the description below. Also, if you're watching along on the video and you want to go and check this thing out for yourself, the links are posted underneath this video as well. So go ahead and jump in there and check that out.
This thing is still for sale, folks. So you got 4 days as of the recording of this podcast to.
I figured out why it's not sold. The air conditioning system does not work.
He's in Texas. That's a deal killer, guys. I'm from the South. Y'all don't want no part of Texas heat without AC.
You know what I would tell everybody when they asked what was going on? I'd tell them it was the Cosworth performance package. Remember they made these Focuses with a Cosworth performance package? I'd just be like, yeah, it's Cosworth.
SVT, bro.
SVT. Special vehicle team. Rob.
Let's check this driving video out.
Yeah, definite driver.
Yeah. You're right. It does kind of look unruly, Zach. I'll give you that.
I could see this thing launching straight drag racing would be just killer.
Play that again. It seemed like an insane amount of body roll considering.
Well, that's what I was saying. It looks like cheap
Look at that body roll.
QA1s in the rear. Just your general.
Yeah.
He spec'd out with Summit Racing.
And when it catches traction, you see the body throw the opposite direction. That's not a good sign.
And he knew he didn't have it all the way around that cone. Like,
yeah.
Like he was a quarter of the way through. He's like, you know what? I'm just going to finish this.
He felt it start to go and was like, good. Die already.
I like this, actually. We're watching a video of him launching this thing, and it so clearly is wheel hopping.
But it's also not as loud as I thought it would be with the front, bumper exits.
I'm laughing because we don't have the audio on right now. We don't want to get zucked,
Oh, man.
The sound of 5-liter V8's going to zuck you.
Well, we've had videos pulled down for Stranger Things, trust me.
We played the Dodge TRX truck advertisement and they copyright struck us. It's like it's an advertisement.
They should be paying you.
Yes. I think Andy told them to suck his and balls.
Yeah.
Wow.
In the email and screamed at Dodge on air, and then they said like 3 weeks later they changed their mind. So
Those algorithms don't work worth the darn though, because I get emails to our Pass Power email box, my official working email, about an eBay seller who's selling something with a similar name, and they have identified us as that eBay seller, which we don't sell on eBay. We don't sell our products on eBay. But I get these takedown notices. I'm like, I've sent nice emails. I've sent nasty emails. They just keep sending the emails. Somebody's gonna get. If I get a service for selling things that I'm not selling, I'm not gonna be thrilled.
Sure.
But this is all algorithm based, and then they have these lawyers that literally just feed on the whole copyright. We are literally digging for anything that could be possibly. You've got a picture of a book in this video. We're gonna sue you now.
They couldn't get that DA slot, so they're going to cut their teeth on PPI.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, I wouldn't stop making fun of the dude's comb over and spray tan, like obvious spray tan. He had white around his eyes, and then the rest of him was orange. And I'm not talking about Trump orange. I'm talking about like matching the burnt orange color that was on the TRX orange. I couldn't stop making fun of him because it was so funny to me seeing his face that brightly burnt orange. But either way, we got it lifted. We got our video back, and cheers to Dodge. I'll still never buy one. Fuck those guys.
Stellantis. We don't call them Dodge anymore. That's the name of the past. That's the old name. It's Stellantis.
It's Ram trucks now.
Oh, yeah.
May cause diarrhea.
Well, I'll tell them where to ram it. We're looking at the rear suspension right now. Kyle, what were you saying about this?
Yeah, to me, it just looks like a general drag setup. I mean, it doesn't look like anything designed for autocross handling. It does not look like it was set up properly for this car. Now, I remember when you were talking about the companies that came out with the conversions when these first were released, they did an 03 Cobra SVT supercharged V8 with the 6-speed and the full IRS setup in the back. I mean, supposedly it was almost a dang near bolt-in for the rear, which strikes me as odd that this person decided to go with a live axle. And now I know there's several companies out there that pretty much make a bolt-in if you have a donor Fox body. And obviously it makes sense just to, transfer the live axle. But to me, just watching it drive around the track, it doesn't look like fun. It just doesn't.
I somewhat agree with you on that. It has a certain... There's a factor there. I don't know exactly what to call it, but I mean, you see a Ford Focus. This one, frankly, it looks very stock. I mean, looking at it, I don't think a person would be able to tell necessarily, unless the engine was running, that it's V8.
Oh, it's super sleeper from the photos. I mean, you wouldn't unless you got up under it. And if you wanted something to take to the meet to show off and be like, let's pop the hood. And, oh, wow, this is really neat. in terms of it, what he's trying to pitch it as a track car, like he's got all these track videos. I just don't think it would be that great to drive. But
It just looks like you'd get on a mountain road and try to drive spiritedly and then die.
Yeah.
Like, and you wouldn't be going that fast. You'd just be like, crap, I can't control it. Well, I guess I'm going over this cliff now.
game over.
Yeah.
I feel like it has snap oversteer worse than an AW11. It just watching him trying to drift around that single cone.
He makes Thanos snap look small. Thanos snap was weak AF, the way this thing snapped.
Yeah.
Well, so maybe this is somewhere in between a kit and a homebrew. Probably that's what's keeping the price a little bit lower. It is currently bid up to $7,070. I feel like the ones that were done early on that had the full Terminator set up in them are probably fetching considerably more.
Was that Saline that was doing those, or was it another company? Or did Saline do it as well as a few other companies?
I feel like SVT actually just played along and actually did one. I can't quote myself on that because I it's been a long time since I've read that particular sport compact car that I learned about these kits, but I feel like they were the actual ones who pioneered that. But several companies had spinoffs.
Didn't Saline? There was actually an actual like Saline run of Focuses, wasn't there?
I was just thinking to myself, was that Saline or was that Shelby? It was Saline, wasn't
I
it?
think it was Saline.
Didn't Saline also have the nitrous one?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what we're talking about.
And it was the
It was the one you voided the warranty if you filled the bottle.
Yes.
Yeah.
and it was a Nitrous Express. It wasn't even NOS. It was like a
It
off-brand
was a knockoff.
I
Yeah,
thought it
that
was
launched
Zex.
Nitrous Express or
Yeah,
Zex.
it,
One
but
of the
it was
two,
one
yeah.
of those like Nitrous Express Zex, but it wasn't even NOS, which I was like, you couldn't get NOS to I don't know.
Somebody self-respecting at NOS was like, you can't actually use the kit. Now we're good.
Yeah.
I feel like somebody at Saline's like, my nephew is a marketing manager over at Nitrous Express, and he's totally gonna hook us up. And like anytime you watch like a CW TV show and they have a live band in the back, you're just like, okay, your niece is in a cover band. Good. I'm glad you put this on here. Force me to listen to it.
Mm-hmm. Unless you're talking about the new Batwoman Batmobile, and then it's like they had a very limited budget.
Well, there's that.
It's literally just a C7 Corvette. C7, C6.
I
think it's
can't say that I've
I don't
watched
know.
the
I was gonna
Batwoman.
say I haven't seen this.
Does Batwoman like jump out in New Balance shoes with grass stains on them, or
If you saw the new
Shorts.
Batwoman
shorts
costume,
with extra pockets?
I told you the other day, I started watching Angel again
Mm-hmm.
from 1999.
Yeah.
I feel like it's held up better than just the first season of Batwoman.
Well, and then didn't the Batwoman change? Like she quit and
Oh, yeah, the
and
first-
so there's a new one
Yeah,
for
the
the
first
second
season.
season.
Yeah, the first season Batwoman's like, I'm out of here.
I haven't seen any of this. Did they actually like play that in, or are we all just supposed to pretend it's the same person?
It would have been smarter if they had done that, honestly. But instead, it's like the old Batwoman's like, all right, peace, I'm out. And the new Batwoman's like, oh, I just found the bat suit, and now I'm entitled to be the new Batwoman. And basically, the first episode is them saying, no, you found the suit, but we need it back. And she's like, no. And then there you go. Season 2.
If I found
Squatters' rights.
if I found,
It's set in Portland. You didn't know that?
Oh,
yeah, Oregon loves squatters. I
Explains it
tried to
all.
buy a rental house once, and it didn't end as well as it could have.
we in fact yesterday while we were driving through Portland, we saw all the new additions to the side of the highways.
Mhm.
All these palatial estates that have been built. We're
Did you-
jealous.
Did you see the one with the garage by
It's
PIR?
off
Yeah,
Yes,
so
it has
that,
a sweet garage.
that used to be a great road that we used to street race on in high school. Was right off there.
Well, if you
Mhm.
break down, there's a sweet garage you can
Yeah.
work on your stuff in. Just lay on.
I was thinking about that very thing. I was like, man, we could have just pushed it right into his palatial estate.
Yeah.
It's like the spray in GTA
Yeah,
where
exactly.
you can spray.
The pay and spray. Yeah, the pay and spray. I think it's super convenient because you roll in there and you get a new stereo and then it gets stolen again. It's like the circle of life,
Which makes me think, though, if we could bring back some of those street racing scenes, can you imagine like you would come out and set up your own tarp garage, and then when the cops got in, you just whip through the grass and just whip it and throw the tarp down, just you'd have to be pre-dressed as a homeless guy,
Yeah,
obviously, and then just sprawl out on the ground by it. The cop would be like, he turned right. Oh, wrong. Nope, he didn't turn
You
here
know,
for sure.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah,
I feel like we should actually start that. Like we should.
it would be a
Wow.
viral video.
Would it be
for
bum
sure.
races?
I don't know.
Ooh.
We might get sued for
Dude, you
even
can call
using
it
that.
bum rush.
Oh my god!
Yes.
We really need to do this. This is a real
I'm
thing.
taking
Bum rush,
20%.
yeah. Bum rush the world.
No, that's a
Don't
really
get
good
girl.
idea.
Bum rush. Woohoo!
I hadn't even thought about
Hey,
that.
listen,
Wow.
we're getting way off topic, and I got to be able to chop this up into segments. So that is our Smokin Deal or Smokin A Doob of the day. If you guys know anything about these cars and you want to give us insights, if it's a deal, if it's a doob, let us know. We're going to go around the table real quick. Matter of fact, let's start with you, Kyle. What do you think?
I'm definitely thinking he's smoking a doob on this one.
It's $7,000.
Yeah, I've seen SVT Focus prices. I know what they're worth. I know how much
In
I
front
can-
wheel drive from.
Correct, and I know what the kit costs. I really do think he's smoking a doob on this one.
Coy?
I'm probably not as good a mechanic as him, and if I was, I would never use my time to do this. But for $7,000, it's a car with an engine that's been rear-wheel drive. Just as a burnout machine, I feel like while I won't buy this because it makes me have acid reflux just looking at it, I feel like $7,000 not a bad price. I feel like that's fair right now.
Zach?
I'm gonna say smoking a doob. It's just at $7,000. There's a cornucopia of selections and what you can buy and not buy. And I just, as cool as it looks, and as like I said, as much as I like the idea of a rear wheel drive hot hatch to go hone around in, I just don't think this is the one. I think you could probably get a better converted one for roughly the same price if you just wait long enough. Of course, if you got to have it now, you got to have it now.
I'm honestly split. I'm truly split. I see what you guys are talking about. I'm kind of with Coy though. 7,000, man, that doesn't seem bad for what the car is. And as bad as the car seems to be with that dude at the wheel, I do think with a little bit of money and time, you could make it something pretty special. And I don't think you'd be $10,000 into it.
I will say, he's kind of throwing this out there as like a sweet track car that he's built. I'm just pretending that he hasn't said that. It's just, this is not a sweet track car. Just
No,
straight
and-
up. There's
and
so much better. For
I know he
$7,000.
has more than $7,000 in building this thing.
Yeah.
So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that there wasn't money spent on this car. I just don't think it was spent wisely.
I agree with
Fair
that.
enough.
I agree with that.
Fair enough. So listen, this is the part where you guys get involved. You jump in, let us know it's a deal. It's a do. We want to hear your thoughts. You're obviously going to know more and or less than we do. So, give us your thoughts and tell us what you think about this thing. But for us, we're landing on basically a dead split here on a deal or a doob.
Smokin Deal or Smokin A Doobie.
I'm thinking back to that Nitrous Express Ford Focus that we saw here a while back. What do you think a good deal on one of those would be?
$1,400.
You're talking to guys who routinely buy 80s Heroes crap can cars for $500. So I'm not going to spend more than $3 for one of those. And that would be with the caveat that I'm sitting on it, maybe hoping that it increases in value. But
That's where I'm at on one of those. I don't really know what would be a good deal, but if I found one, you couldn't do anything with it. You just have to leave it stock and throw a tarp over it and push it to the back of the barn and hope you could pull that out when you retired and get big money.
I feel like I would pay more if the guy could actually prove that he had burned through at least 10 bottles in it. I really would.
I
Your
fought
warranty's done
the
gone.
warranty and the warranty loss.
I'd be like,
Off the
you are my
warranty."
hero.
It's true. I would love to see one of those where someone actually did like a full built motor. Coy and I always used to talk about this, by the way. How awesome would it be to have a motor that is built to absolutely the max, built to hold nitrous like nobody's business, but it's a 4-cylinder. So in naturally aspirated trim, it's, 200 horsepower, but then you're shoving like a 300 shot down the throat. I would love to do something like that with one of those Focuses and just tell people, it's got the bottle, but it's nitrous only. And you know how these Ford Focuses go. I'm worried about keeping the thing together, and you just kind of roll through first gear and they get a couple cars ahead of you and you get into second and you hit that button and instantly smoke just starts pouring off of the front end. Tires, hopefully, not the motor.
Too soon, Junior.
Yeah.
You know, and always if I built a car like that, I would get one of those Office Easy buttons, like a 4-inch red button on the dash, so I could just be like, yeah.
That would actually be kind of good because you'd let off, grab another
Mhm.
gear, give it a little, take it easy a little bit on that transmission in between
Mhm.
the shifts.
I'm not even sure if you could do it this way, but I'd want it to have some feedback. So, like, as I got towards red line, the button started pushing back at me a little. So I'd just be like, nope, we're going all the way, you know?
His floor pans are flapping.
Yeah, I don't know if we
Full
could do
pressure.
some kind of vacuum
Dangers in a
switch or
manifold.
something.
Yep. Yeah, I'm 100% there. Listen, I like Ford Focus. As a matter of fact, Ford Focuses, as far as being like on an autocross course or the track, they don't handle bad at all. I've seen some really, really good drivers put down some crazy fast laps with Ford Focuses, obviously in front-wheel drive trim. So that probably makes me a little biased with this rear-wheel drive conversion. Like, I want it to be good, and it seems like it would be good, but like you guys said from the videos, it's not quite there. I'm not even sure, even from that lap video, I'm not sure that it's really even that much faster than a stock SVT Focus.
I feel like a ZX3 in completely stock trim could give that thing a run for its money around the track. Just watching the short
Mhm.
clips. I mean, the way it transitions all the way to the rear, obviously it has a ton of torque.
Yeah, but he's wobbling through the corners.
Yeah, he is not committing
Mhm.
at all.
Yeah, he knows where the edge is at, and he's not getting close.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Well, he's like, listen, I've put $17,000 into this car. It's worth about $5,000. I can't wad it up now. The wife will divorce me. Hell, he's probably already divorced.
You know, like Jurassic Park
Mhm.
says, he was so busy trying to figure out if he could do it, he never stopped to consider if he should.
Bingo. And I think that's a good place to end on, by the way. You guys, go ahead and fill us in with those details one more time. Let people know where they can find you. Give us a social media one more time, please.
You can reach us at our website, www.passpowerparts.com, our Facebook page, facebook.com/passpowerparts, or our Instagram at passpowerparts. I'm Zach. This is Kyle, and we're with Pass Power Innovations.
Anything to add, Kyle?
Thank you for
like and
having us.
subscribe to Horsepower Hour, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, we watch every week.
I appreciate that.
Ever since Kyle added me to the Facebook group,
Mhm.
I've been trying to catch up bits and pieces as I'm able to, and I've really enjoyed it. So I hope
Yeah.
that we can come back in the future if we haven't burned that bridge.
Oh, no. Of
Always
course not.
welcome. Always welcome.
Always, you guys. So thank you again for being here. Really do appreciate it. And I can't wait to see what happens with PPI in the future. I know you guys are going to do some big things. And that crap can Heroes Garage, cannot wait to see what you guys do with that. Seriously, I'm invested now.
We'll
Well-
come up anytime.
We're welcome. We're located in beautiful central Washington. We're 2 hours from Canada. So you can come out. There are just gorgeous roads out there.
30 minutes from
I know
Leavenworth.
Coy mentioned being coming up the plain, which is about
Mhm.
45 minutes from us. It's a fantastical community and just driving roads for days. So you would not be disappointed.
Road trip time, buddy.
Road trip.
And you guys, of course, go and check them out. You have to check out what they're doing. It is incredible stuff. Kyle and Zach, they really know what they're doing, and it is worth following them, liking and sharing what they're doing. I mean, it's really their content is top notch. So please go out and do that. By the way, I think our content's pretty top notch here too. If you agree, please like and share. That is really what keeps us going. And why we appreciate you guys for doing it. Seriously, your support and love and friendship and sexual favors. I mean, quite frankly, it is what keeps us going. Also, the merch. Go and check out Teespring store, teespring/store/the Horsepower Hour, all one word. Go and see this month's newest shirt, which quite frankly, I'm in love with. Kicking it old school. We got the AE86 on there. It looks beautiful, looks gorgeous. Get yourself one of those shirts. Use the promo code SOYBOY to get $5 off right now. It makes it a $20 shirt, you guys, men's or women. Are you kidding me right now? $20 for a shirt? Don't go to Blip Shift and spend $38 for a shirt. Come over to us. Get this fantastic high quality shirt for $19.99 when you use the code SOYBOY. That is only going to be available for this month because it is our monthly shirt. So make sure you come and check that out. Coy, can be found right here at the Horsepower Hour. If you want to find us on Facebook, the group is The Horsepower Hour. The Facebook page is facebook.com/The Horsepower Hour. The handle on Instagram is at The Horsepower Hour. Twitter, which I don't really use too much because Twitter is a cesspool, but it's at, let's see here, I have to remember, at horsepower_hour if you do want to go and follow us over there. I don't ever post anything, so don't bother. I hate Twitter. Twitter's garbage. Don't use Twitter. All it does is just sow division. So thank you again, you guys, for joining. I do appreciate you all out there. And for Zach Arndt, Coy Forticus, Sid Masterson, Junior Senior Esquire, Duke of Earl Grey, and Kyle Kuhlmann, this is Andy We Will. See you next time.